Imagine being 83, recovering from a severe stroke in a hospital and then suffering a heart attack. This is the story of Beatrice Wiseman, an octogenarian who found herself in this exact scenario in Maryland General Hospital. Just as she was making progress from a stroke, fate threw a curveball, and her heart stopped. The medical staff, true to their training and instinct, were quick to respond. Without hesitation, they launched into a flurry of activity. Chest compressions, rescue breaths, the sharp electric jolt of a defibrillator, all in a bid to snatch Beatrice from the jaws of death. For a fleeting moment they thought they had succeeded. They believed they had saved the day, that they were heroes in the face of disaster. But little do they know, their actions have unintentionally sparked a legal and ethical controversy. In the rush to save a life, there's no time to check paperwork, right? In the high-octane world of emergency medicine, every second counts. Beatrice's heart had failed, and the medical team did what they were trained to do. They saved her life. But in this whirlwind of activity, a critical piece of information was overlooked. Beatrice and her husband had prudently prepared for the possibility of this situation. They had signed legal documents stating that if Beatrice's heart failed, she should be allowed to die. This directive was not hidden in a dusty corner of some forgotten cabinet. It was right there, at the top of her chart. Yet, in the urgency of the moment, the hospital staff didn't think to check. The life they had fought so valiantly to save was now protected by a legal shield, transforming a medical triumph into a looming legal battle. The life they saved now becomes the center of a legal battle. Beatrice's son decides to sue the hospital for $250,000. The lawsuit, a tangled web of emotion, ethics, and law, alleges negligence, assault, and the intentional infliction of emotional distress. The hospital, its staff, and their life-saving measures are now seen in a very different light. They are not heroes but defendants in a case that questions the very essence of their profession. In addition to the $250,000 claim, Beatrice's son is seeking a further $180,000 for each year his mother continues to live. These sums represent the costs of her care, both in the hospital and at home. A life-saving act has now become a financial burden, with the cost of care soaring as high as the ethical dilemmas. So here we stand, at the intersection of morality, medicine, and law, asking the question, in saving a life, have the doctors committed an unforgivable error? The case presents a philosophical and ethical dilemma with no clear answers. Beatrice Wiseman's life was saved, but at what cost? She's alive, yes, but her quality of life is far from what one might consider comfortable. She's bedridden, reliant on a feeding tube, and lives in a state of confusion due to dementia. Her son insists that she's suffering, that she continuously questions why she's still here. In a world where medical advancements can prolong life, we are faced with a paradoxical situation. The very act of saving a life can, in some instances, lead to prolonged suffering. The intentions of the hospital staff were undoubtedly noble, but the result has led to a life that Beatrice herself did not desire. This case forces us to grapple with the complex intersections of medical ethics, patient autonomy, and the very human struggle of determining what constitutes a life worth living. In their effort to save a life, did the medical staff inadvertently rob Beatrice of her dignity?